Hi, hi, hi. This is Sheila, MissusStitches. The date today is February 16th. This is my channel on cross stitch, and this is season 1, episode 10. Hi, everyone. Welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for all my returning subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. It's really great. Didn't check my subscriber count. I think it's around about 325, maybe something like that. So it's been a little over 2 weeks. I meant to do this on Valentine's Day. Today's February 16th. But here I am, so better late than never, I guess. So hi everyone. So it's been a bit of a time. You may have just gotten a glance. I will tell this story at the end. I'll probably edit it a bit, but this happened. This happened the day after, I believe, my last Flosstube. So this is over 2 weeks. I think coming up 3 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, but that's how long it's been since my Flosstube. It happened the next day. I will, like I said, I'll tell a story at the end. I'm fine. Right now I have my fingers covered just because they're really ugly looking and I don't want to gross anyone out. So this is more, well, I do cover them every day. So I have the bandages on and off to let them just relax a little bit. So I obviously hurt my fingers, all 3 fingers, but I've been able to stitch. So thankfully I had a Lowry stand. So I've been doing one-handed stitching, of course. And I also, with a hoop, I'm able to just hold the hoop with the palm of my hand and stitch. So that has been a saving grace. So that's been my major thing since I last spoke. But let's get to the stitching because I have, I think, 2 new starts. Not sure on that. At least 2 new starts. Yeah, we'll find out. And I have some whips and I have plans. And I had some haul, but I'm not going to really show that because I just don't feel like it. It's not that exciting. Well, it is, but I got a black needle box and I was a little disappointed. I might throw it in on the unboxing where I try to fake excitement. May or may not do that at the end. But let's get to my whips. So to start off, and I'll give you life updates at the very end. I'll kind of, like I said, give an edited version what happened. I'll probably put a warning up, or I'll at least vocally warn beforehand, just so that if anyone is squeamish or whatever, or traumatic, I think I might suffer a little post-traumatic stress syndrome from this. We'll see how much I can talk about it. Anyways, on to the cross stitching. So, to start off with, well, I'm going to start off with the beast. That's over COVID. I'm going to show you a picture of what it will look like when it is done. Let's unplug my laptop. Hopefully the glare isn't too bad. It's a beautiful sunny day. Oh, that's not too bad. Oh, okay, we'll just keep. So that is a picture of where we live. It's part of our walk. It's a little ways away, and it's called over, on the far side is Over Cove Road, and that's our Northeast Cove. And so this was, I believe, 120,000 stitches. I've been doing 200 stitches a day. I'm aiming to finish for March 21st. I'm doing seasonal focus pieces. And so this is my focus piece for the season from the first day of winter to the first day of spring. And so I am right on target. I only have, I think, less than 5,000. I'm not going to take it out of this Q snap at the very end here. We'll leave the big grand reveal at the very end. I mean, you can see what it's, but got less than 5,000 stitches to go. So since last spoke to you, I think I've done a lot of this. So, and maybe a little bit up here. I think I just knocked my needle. Nope, my needle's fine. So this is over COVID. I'm just into browns. I love, and you can really see it right now, the way there was a road there. So this is a road, and then this is the shoreline, and it's sort of this grass and rocks. And I'm not sure what's gonna, I think the road's gonna curve back in, but I'm not really sure I'm trying not to peek too much and just go with it. It's gonna be mostly browns and grays right now, mostly brown. I have done I'm a little bit off over here. And so I'm kind of trying to right now just work my way across. So I'm one stitch off, and I don't think it's going to make a difference at this point. And I'm obviously not tearing anything out. So I kind of stopped part way because it was getting kind of confusing because it wasn't lining up with this. And so I thought, oh, I'm just going to work my way that way. I also have a mistake somewhere up here. Again, another one off, and I'm just going with it, fudging as best as I can. But this is over COVID, and it is gorgeous. I am like so excited to get this done. So I watched Stitchy Mommy, and she talks about a typewriter method, and I kind of like that idea. I'm doing a little differently. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a column and going from top to bottom and picking a color and then working it out till I finish the thread, and then the next one. And so right now I'm going down pretty much right here, and then I'll go back up there. And so I'm finding that helps the mind, especially with this being all browns at this point. So that's over COVID. 200, I say 200 stitches a day. I have the calculator for how many I have to do to finish. And so some days, like the day of the accident, obviously I didn't stitch at all because it happened first thing in the morning. And then the next day, I think I only got like 70 stitches in. I was going to say, by the way, I got stitches. And so my name is now literally Mrs. Stitches. So I aim for 200 each day, but some days I'm less, and that's fine because right now I think I only need 150 something to complete by March 21st. And that number keeps going down, obviously, if I keep doing it 200. So right on target with that. So very pleased with that. Next, I will show you is a cell that I'm in, Stitch Along. And this is an Etsy shop called Paint with Stitches. Let me just get its logo here. Oh, actually, no, I've got to do that differently. PDF, that'll be the best way. So, Paint with Stitches, and it's a mystery cell. So she's releasing, there's going to be 11 parts. It's done like a jigsaw puzzle. I believe it's, what do you call it, semi-full coverage? It's not. It's just the parts of the stitching is full coverage, but then there's spaces around. I don't know what that's called. But it's a mystery cell. We're kind of all trying to guess. I haven't done much for this month. Most of it's going to go up above here, I believe. So this month actually had quite a few stitches, and I've been busy with other things, so I haven't gotten very far. But it's released on the 11th of each month, so I got a bit of time before the next one. I will keep on top of this. So that's just been, I think I've only put in, I think less than 200 stitches, and I think there's 1,500 in this month. So yeah, I got a ways to go on that. Next, let's show you, I'm doing this all out of order, all hoobity-doobity. It's just my stack. So I'm just doing it in the order of my stack. So this is one of my new starts. So, oops. This one's kind of exciting. So this was a Whip Go prompt. And in reality, I'm kind of not sure if I'm going to keep up with Whip Go. But it's funny because each month, I might still, each month I had thrown in whips, but I'd also thrown in, because I picked out 12 things, so they come up twice on the Whip Go board. For those of you that don't know Whip Go is like a bingo board, and every month 2 numbers are called. It's by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. You can find her on Flosstube. And so the idea is to work, you make up your own rules. So you can decide what your goals are, how many projects you put in. I think it originated that you work your way through your WIPs. So I picked 10 WIPs, I believe, and I picked 2 that were new starts, Halloween new start and Christmas new start. Now, oddly enough, last month I got the Halloween new start. This month I got the Christmas new start. So this is what I decided to take from my stash and start. This is Just Nan, and it's a Christmas Jewel. You can see Just Nan down there, and that's Christmas Jewel. So it's paper pattern, obviously. I am right now working up here on this motif. So this is a repeating motifs, and the way she's sort of done it is she has she calls them A, B, C, D blocks, and then I think there's E and F, and there might be other letters. So, and then they're going to repeat. So I am doing this on, I don't know, it was an old piece of some, this is probably like a Michael's Charles Craft or DMC piece of some kind of linen. I think it's 28 count, and that's how much I got done so far. And I'm doing my own things. I don't have certain things, so I didn't have metallics, the Krynic. Oh, there's going to be beads in here, and there's some silks that'll be the first time beading, first time using silks coming up. But right now, this strong sort of goldy color, that's supposed to be a Krynic, and instead I'm using, or it might be supposed to be pearl cotton. I think it's supposed to be pearl cotton, and I'm using some stuff I got from the, and same with the white. The white's also supposed to be pearl cotton. Stuff I got from a thrift store, and they were cotton. They called them embroidery cotton. This orange gold thing is actually really thick, and I tried to split it down, and it wouldn't work. It just it stayed all raveled up. So I'm trying my best. Those are just eyelets right now that they're in the center, and I think they work good enough. And then this white is actually working really well. I think it's working just like a pearl cotton. I think it's the exact consistency. These are in big, huge skeins, and oh, I had a nightmare trying to find the start, and like they are huge skeins. I think they're like 600 meters, like they're huge. So plenty. But it was really hard. In the end, I couldn't find the start of the white, so I had to just cut it and make my own start. So it's a little bit of work to try to get my strands out, because it's just like, they're like skeins of wool or something, just the way they've all been wrapped, and there's all twisting and everything. It's a lot of work, but I love it so far. I think it's really pretty. So like I said, I'm just working up in the top one here. So I'm just working on like this one right here right now. And so kind of making my way, and just kind of, that's 3 days worth of progress. It's a little bit slow going. I only work about an hour or 2 on it each time, but I think it's beautiful. I'll just show you one more time. That's pretty. And that's called Christmas Jewel by Nan, Just Nan. My next new start, keep you awake, is a Blackbird Designs, Dear Daughter. I am making this as, I'm going to change the words to Dearest Aunt of Mine instead of Dear Daughter of Mine, Dearest Aunt of Mine. And I'm giving it to my aunt as just a present. So, and I'm going to change the initials up in this flower pot too. I'm going to I'm thinking of doing, her husband passed away just 2 years ago, and they were married for 60 plus years. And so I was going to do like their initials, just sort of something. And I'm changing all the colors of the threads, or the floss. So this is done on, I believe, 28 count vintage country mocha, I think. So I've started the border. And I'm doing mostly Gentle Art Gentle Art sampler threads, Gentle Arts. Let me just move this thread out of the way. I still park. I'm a parker. That's how much. So in the flowers at the top, there's been 3 different colors. The butterfly, I did a completely different color, and I started a bit on the flowers. So kind of just working my way through that. I think it is a fun stitch. I'm really enjoying doing it so far. So I want to get this finished. I have to get this finished by the end of March. And so I think I'm going to be on track. I think it's going fast enough. Hopefully by the end of this month, I get at least the border done. My goal, I'll just cover goals at the same time. So my goal for this month is to finish up the border. So I've done about that much of the border. Finish up the border and maybe get like this top half-ish done. I'm going to have to chart out the changes there, but maybe get that done. So I've done this one butterfly here, and I've started on one of these flowers. Shouldn't take much time. The other flower is going to take a bit of time because it's traveling. And I find in this case a little bit hard to find my spot, but I'm getting used to it with the fabric that's not Ada. Okay, I haven't shown you this one in a long time. Our weather this year has been awful. We have had 4 storms. What are we in? Mid-February. This accident sort of happened because of a storm. We got hit with an ice storm, and it was really icy out. And so I will talk about that coming up. But it's just, yeah, the ice storm was really bad. We were lucky. We didn't get hit quite as hard as some other people. So only like in our town, when we go to town to shop, is, I want to say 50 kilometers away, thereabouts. They had major ice storm. Like all the trees were covered in ice. And there were parts of Nova Scotia that were out of power, had no power for, I think like around 2,000 customers with no power for 4 days. And there were pictures of, in Digby, of like trees covered with ice and like power truck or Nova Scotia power truck all along just one block trying to repair the lines. Just a mess. This is my rainy day project. I was doing this on any kind of precipitation day, so rainy or snow day, but I've had so many, you can see in the month of January how many days I ended up working on it, that I decided to make it only rainy. Right now we've just finished a little bit of a cold snap, -13, so rain hasn't been a thing, but it's going to be coming back. I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow, but this is my rainy day project. So this is the river. I didn't bring up my cover thing, sorry. This is by Modern Folk Embroidery. It came in the November Black Needle Society resolution box, and also the threads. So this is done. Oops, on. Trying to get better at this. I'm not very good at remembering to tell you, but this is on Fiberlicious Golden Amber 18 count Ada, which sometimes is, sometimes working on the other ones is anyways. And yeah, and the floss is, I think, oh, I didn't bring up my bag, I don't think. Oh, it's way over there. Pause. I actually did bring everything up with me. So this is what it's going to look like, oops, when it's done. The river. And I did some changes. So I changed out this whole row of numbers, and instead of just random numbers, I've put the birth years of the women in my family. And the floss, oh, I don't have the original floss card thing. Oh, I'll have to find where that went to. This is the floss. It's by I can't remember. It's called River of Life, the floss. Wonder if it's in here. Nope. No, I misplaced that. That's a shame. Okay. I'll have to write that on the card once I find it. I can't remember. Anyways, so here's my work. And so you can see along this row here are all years. So my birth year is on this far side at 1964. Yes, I'm that old. And then my mother's, my grandmother's, my great-grandmother's, my great-great-grandmother's, and my great-great-great-grandmother's. And so now I'm on the main body of the flowers, and the rest is going to be as charted. But that's the river, and I love it. It's gorgeous. It's a bit of a chore because when it snows, I put an hour in each time, but I still love it. I actually kind of miss it right now because I haven't, but rain is coming, so I will get back on it. So there you go. Next is I wanted to mention, so the person that inspired me to do my first Flosstube, or gave me the push, was Stitching at the Cabin. That's Julie and Alyssa, and Julie's birthday's coming up, and so she's doing a stitch along. She's doing a stitch start, and she said anybody who can join in. So her birthday is on Friday, on the 18th, February 18th, and it's Twisted Band Sampler, so anyone who's got it. So I work on this each month. I'm doing a band a month right now, and so right now I'm working on, I think Twisted Band Sampler can be, I have the one that is half cross stitches, half specialty stitches. I guess there's ones that are only cross stitch. I never even looked at that. So I love doing the specialty stitch, but like I said, I do a band a month. They alternate between the cross stitch and the specialty stitches, and each band has half of one color, half of another color, and then the next band will be half of the last color. So you can see that throughout here. So right now I am working on this band, and it's straight cross stitch, and I'm just doing one of the colors, and then I'll do the next color, which will be my next color, and I think it's a goldy gold color. Goldy gold color. They're a gold yellow color. So that's just 2 days from now. So I was hoping to finish off this color, and then the next color only has, I think, 600 stitches, and so I think I could just push through and try to get that all done on her birthday. So I'm gonna do a bit of a it's beautiful. I'm going to do a bit of a, like a marathon. So however many I have left in this color and the other color, I'm going to try and finish off my band for this month on her birthday on Friday. So that might be all I'm doing besides over COVID on Friday. Okay, next is, I'm almost done. Oh no, there's a few more there. Okay. Next is Fruit to Plenty by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is the mystery sale of 2021, and Chris Cross Stitch came up with the hashtag still fresh fruit, and so people that had it, or if they hadn't finished it, to do a stitch along. So I am doing this, and I think Chris Cross Stitch is doing the same thing, trying to do it as the months were released. So I have all the months obviously released because I bought it last year. But then I'm trying to do each one. So I'm trying to do them in the first half of the month before the 15th, because in the second half of the month I'm working on my Hawk Run Hollow, Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow, which I won't be showing today because I did last night, just the black box. So you'll see that next time. But anyway, so this I ended up working on 10 days at the start of the month. And so this is the second block that came out, and I think it's gorgeous. I mean, everybody's done this already. I'm mostly doing two colors. This light blue, the fabric, sorry, is 32 count Zweig Belfast olive green, and these are DMC flosses. The light blue is something that I got a whole bunch of in when I bought somebody's stash, and so I wanted to use it up, but I don't actually have quite enough. So in the 4 corner boxes, I'm going to switch out some of that light green for the blue, and then the burgundy I bought myself, and so that I got enough of that. So that is the January and the February. So there you go. Still fresh fruit sal. And it is really pretty. I'm not happy with the way some of the negative space is showing up with this light blue. It almost should be a bit darker. And I might at the very end stitch something in the negative space, but you cannot see that up here is 2 and there's 0. And so those are not showing up. If I you kind of can see it now, but it's not obvious. And then same thing with down here. These are all like flowers or leaves or motifs. You can't see them very well. So either it should have been a darker fabric, or I should have gone slightly darker on the threads. But it's delicate, so it is what it is, and I still enjoy the stitch. Lessons. Okay, so next, that goes with that. Next is my temperature tree. And I would suggest if anyone is ever going to do a temperature tree to, I bought this probably in, I want to say the summertime, and excited to start, but obviously it wasn't the start of the year yet. So I did the whole tree, and I am so glad I actually stitched the whole tree. So my whole tree is actually done. It's all folded up in here, but it's all done. And so each night I'm just stitching the leaf. So I, around 10 o'clock-ish, I go take our temperatures. I have my own little weather station. And so I grab my highs and lows, not stitching lows, but I think next year I am going to stitch the lows. I actually have them all recorded. So if I want to incorporate them somehow in this, I could. And like I possibly could just do a low dot somewhere or something. I don't know. But this is our temperature. So I'm on the February branch right now. And I noticed this last night, and I think this is super cool, so to speak. So this dark blue here is -7 to -8, I believe, for the high of the day. And so both of these months, January's month and February month, at the very tip, there are 3 leaves. And of those 3 leaves, they're almost all exactly the same, with being very cold. The warm in here, let me just move this parked thread out of the way. Parking doesn't really work with this, so I am cutting some off. This is the coldest we've had. I think that is -9 to -11, or -9 to -10 as a high. I think something like that. That's the coldest we've had so far. And these yellows here are the warms. And so we only had 1 warm here in the month of February. The greens are fairly warm too. So it's been not too bad. We're going to warm up tomorrow. They've said that our weather this year has been a roller coaster. So we've been going up and down, up and down. Doesn't always show on this because it's the highs. I think if I had the high and the lows, you would see it a bit more, because some days we can have a 15 degrees Celsius temperature change in a given day. So that's not showing up on here. So, but that's my temperature tree and half of the month of February. So very nice. Next is another stitch along. By the way, I am feeling a bit overwhelmed, and I watched Chris cross stitch last night, and he came up, and I think this was Somi Sarah that actually originally came up with this idea, is that when our hobbies become overwhelming, it's time to it shouldn't be pressure to finish anything. Have a little bit of that, especially with the whip goes, and that's probably why I'm thinking of dropping the whip go. I like that it inspires me to do some old things, or in this case, I did new starts, and but because I have 3 stitch alongs that I'm doing, I think 3. And I got other things like finishing the thing off for my aunt. I'm going to stitch north it's April 1st to April 4th. I'm leaving on the 30th, I think, of March, second to last day in March. And so I'm going early, so I'm actually going to go and visit my aunt. So that's why I want to finish I'm going to give it to her then. And then the Stitch North also had a smalls exchange, which I said I was interested in, and they've given the details on it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it or not, if I have time. Right now, I can't add that to my plate. I'm just got too much on the go. So things, I might have to be paring back a bit. I am going to have Over COVID finished sometime. And anyways, it's just, I'm starting to feel a little pressure, but it's not too bad yet. So I still can handle it. I still love cross stitching. And maybe this kind of, is making me feel a bit more pressure too. But back to one of my sales. So, and this one might get a bit behind, and that's okay. This is, I can't remember the website, but it's a Facebook group I found, and it's called the Tarot Cell. And those are my 2 tarot cards. So 2 tarot cards are released each month. And so for January, we had the Fool and the Magician. And so those are the, I can still do some back stitching on the Magician. Really not, I did a bit of a mistake with this. I used a leftover piece, and it's 20 count Aida. I don't like this one because the stitches tend to slip behind. And I also been using 2 strands, and it's full coverage in the boxes. So the 2 strands on the outside are fine, and on the border are fine. But once I got into the full coverage, it got a bit too hard to stick the needle through, a bit too thick for me. And then when I had to do the back stitching, it just like, but I think I'll probably do a bit on the Magician because her hair, or his, if they're supposed to be indiscriminate, hair doesn't really show up very well. So I'll probably, and the hands disappeared. So I'll probably might just do a back stitching around the Magician, but it's just sitting there for now. And then my last one is, and let's get the computer. Come on, live computer. Oh, I'm going to have to log. Oh, I don't have to log in. That's good. Okay, the last one. Let's see. There we go. Is, Colorado Cross Stitcher has February cross stitch camp. And the idea is that you start and finish something in the month. And you post on Instagram your start and your finish, and then you're entered in a draw if you're able to do it in the month. So this month it was to do something monochromatic. And I don't think I had anything monochromatic. It turned out later on I looked, and because of the Fruits of Plenty sale, actually had a thank you gift from Jacob at the very end. That was a small monochromatic piece, which would have worked out perfectly, but I didn't find it out till I stitched it. So spent a lot of sleepless times trying to figure out what I was going to do, but I ended up picking this. This is by Primitive Hair, and there were 2 different designs. One was Stitching is Dreaming, and the other one was To Stitch is to Dream, or something like that. Neither one of those sayings actually worked for me, but what I did was, again, change the wording. So I changed it to, so once again, it's Stitching is Dreaming. I changed that to Stitching My Stash. And so that's what I've come up with is when you take obviously this has got, I think this has got about 3 colors or 4 or 5 colors in it. And I thought, oh, it'll be no problem. Well, what I didn't realize was, like, there was a different color in the center, the scissors there, the thread, and things just kind of got a little bit lost. The date is supposed to be 2 colors, so I am just going with negative space. In some cases, I'm doing half stitches in other cases. So coming along on that, got to finish this by the end of February, and I think I'm well over halfway. I had a really hard time with this pattern. I couldn't put it in Pattern Keeper, even though it's a PDF. So I ended up putting it in our Markup RX, which I have just as a trial right now. I'm not sure if I'll pay for it. And that's working okay. It's different than Pattern Keeper. At least it takes the PDFs that don't go into Pattern Keeper. So it's working okay. But I don't know, this pattern, because it had two different designs, the whole thing went in. And so I think it's actually counting all the stitches on the 2 pages of design. And obviously I'm only stitching 1 page. I kind of went back and forth between the 2 pages to make up what I was doing. So I think it says right now I'm at, and then I'm not sure if it's counting the blank squares, because you can actually highlight the blank squares too. So I really don't know what the stitch count is on this bottom line, and I don't know how far I am. All I can do is look at the picture there. And so again, I just hit my finger. That did not hurt. That hurt. Okay, that was not good. Okay. So I've done most of this and I'm down around there. So I am looking at this. Oh God, that hurt. Looking at this, I'm going to guess less than a 5th, maybe a 6th left to go. So stitching my stash. I'm doing this on, I think it is 18 count platinum, and it's just it's not a DMC. This is a JP Coates from the stash that I bought. And I can't remember the color number, but it doesn't really cross over to DMC anyway. So yeah, I think I've only used a skein. I'm going to end up using less than 2 skeins. I grabbed something. I wasn't sure how much it was going to need, because I didn't really have a stitch count anywhere. So I ended up grabbing something with 5 skeins color. So that is my stitching. Now I'm going to show you one other thing that is craft related. I'm going to show you some of my knitting. I haven't ever talked about my other crafts. So I do like to knit, but I really do it kind of, okay, to be honest, I do it solely as presents for my husband. So John, or if you are watching right now, please turn off this video. I don't think, unless it's already been your birthday. If it's already been your birthday, then you can watch. But if it hasn't been your birthday yet, stop watching now. I don't think he's watching anyways, because he usually doesn't last this long, especially with this much cross stitching. He probably hasn't watched it. And I think he's sort of stopped watching me. But anyways, let's just and I'll show you my knitting. Okay. So one thing I wanted to talk about first, and this isn't a present for him or anything, but I, and I think my husband, are into recycling in a sense of not just throwing things away, trying to fix them, trying to repair them. So, and giving things long life, especially on clothing. And so this is a beautiful sweater that he picked up at a thrift store. We do a lot of thrifting, just not so much because we can't afford new. One, it's what we have the most access to here. We have either thrift stores or Walmart. And so we tend to go to thrift stores. We can go further to find a Mark's warehouse or whatever, but there's not a lot of clothing stores. So there's also Amazon, but you never know. So thrift stores, you can try them on, and there's lots of nice stuff there, surprisingly, and they're pretty inexpensive. So this was the sweater he got. I think he got it for $1. And it is pure wool. It's called St. Michael's. They don't make it anymore, but I think he looked up and found that it was from like the 90s. Now, whether moths got in this or it's just the fact of it being so old, it ended up getting some holes, and it had about, I want to say about a dozen holes. So some of the holes I patched with a physical patch. So there's a way to stitch and graft a patch on, and it's pretty cool. You actually pick up the stitches, and then you keep picking them up on the edge. You kind of stitch and it just gets attached. I do it for socks too. I'll show you one of my socks in a minute. And so then there's another patch right smack in the middle there. Then there was a big huge hole at the bottom there. I did a patch. Did a patch on the sleeve over here. Where is it? There it is. And they're a little bit bulky, the patches, and some of the holes. I actually looked up on YouTube. YouTube's always a great source for learning things. And found out how to kind of, when it's like been a snagged thread, you can actually pick up the stitches and then actually kind of weave them in. And there were other ones for weaving. And so some of the corrections I did were just kind of a stitching and a weave, like almost like a darning. And those turned out really well. Those were actually ended up being a lot quicker, and they also look better. So where's another one I did? There's one right here. You can't even see it. It's in the ribbing. Right there. I can feel it. This was a really big one. Or was that a big one? I can't remember if that was a big one. There is one big one I did. Right there. He had a couple of really big ones right on the ribbing area. Right down at the bottom. Well, you can't even tell where they are anymore. So I just wanted to share that with you, that you can actually, and I'm going to go grab my socks and show you my socks that I fixed too. We may have a visit from my cat. So we have 2 cats right now. They're both my cat. Well, not my cats, but they came with me when John and I merged our lives. And so I have Harry and Haney. You met Haney last week. Harry just came in. We try to keep the cats out. This is our bedroom, and we try to keep them out just because of the cat hair, but he snuck in. He heard me talking, knew I was in here. But anyway, so he may visit, but it looks like he's settling on the bed, so he'll be fine. So these are some socks. I could have made these. This is before I was making socks, and so I actually bought these. Now I make things rather similar, but they wore out in the heel. And so I did that same patch and grafting on right on the heel, which was really awkward because it's in a spot where there's decreasing happening and ribbing happening. But I fixed my socks, and it's awesome. It is an awesome method. I use Purl Together. She has tutorials on darning socks, and she has got great tutorials. So really like her. So then the part that I wanted my husband to be not present for is 2 things. So one he knows about. Don't have it here. Okay, can't show you. I'm going to do a birthday start for him on cross stitching, which my goal is to finish it by next year. So you're going to see that next Flosstube. The other one is, this is what I made for him. So I'll show you this one first. So this is one sock. Now this is kind of neat because we went to an auction and I bid really hard. I was bound and determined not to lose this lot. The lot was a box full of what I could see on the top was cross stitching. Ended up being, I think 6 of these that were all, maybe 7 or 8, all numbered, all bobbinated numbers. Like she had 0 to 300 or 0 to 100, 100, 300. Anyway, so that is actually my library of DMC threads. And so it was great. It was well worth, I think I ended up bidding $47. Also in it were some knitting stuff. And one of the knitting things was the thread or the yarn, which didn't have its label anymore. And the sock, this sock done to right about there ish. And so I finished off the first one and then started on the second one. Accidentally did the cuff differently than her. She did a knit one, purl one ribbing, I believe, maybe. And I did knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. So they're different. If you hold them together, you can see that they're different. Hard to see, but they are. That's fine. With the fingers, the going back knit 1, purl 1 would have been actually really hard to do with fingers. So it was hard enough doing the knit 2, purl 2. I'm fine if I'm doing one thing, but switching back and forth hurts a bit more. So this is the second one. And I knew I was going to run out. I could feel I was running out. So I ran out. So I went to my yarn stash, which isn't much compared to my cross stitch chest, and found this and finished it off with this, which I think looks pretty okay. Pretty okay. And main thing was actually to match up the weight. And so I think I pretty much did that, because you look at the transition and it's not that much different. It may have gone a little wider out here, but it's at the toe anyways. And then before that, this is when I still had all my working fingers, I did this one. And this one, I'm not sure if it's going to fit. So I haven't done the second one. I'm going to wait and see, and then I do the second one. He likes mismatched socks anyway, so I'm talking quiet because I think he's in the house now. So I think he'll be fine with just getting one sock anyways. He got one sock last year too. I meant to do the other one. I just hadn't yet, and I still might. But anyway, so those are the birthday gifts, part of the birthday gifts. So I think at this point, like I said, I'm going to tag on the unboxing. I'll put that in right here. And then I'm going to actually tell about, sorry, I'm not going to put it in there. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to talk about the accident just briefly, no gore details. So interestingly enough, like I said, we had this, our third, fourth, I don't know how many nor'easter came. And I'm going to, I show a picture at the very start of one of the results. So you'll have seen the picture. We're living on an island, and there's lobster fishing here. And along the shoreline, they have lots of fish houses. And so one of the roofs of a fish house got blown right off of the fish house. Don't really know how that could happen. It was a metal roof. And it landed on the road, blocking all traffic. So we only have 2 lanes. So this roof was sitting on the road. So that happened, I think, on Saturday. And it took till noon Sunday for them to get the roof moved off the road. I believe that was how it went. So the storm, maybe the storm happened Saturday night. I think the storm happened Saturday night. So they got it off Sunday morning, whenever it happened. After the storm, the next morning, I wanted to go out, and I was actually doing a 1-second video. And so I do these 1-second videos a day, which I'm a bit behind right now, but it's pretty boring when I'm in the house all the time. So I've been in the house for a while, because after last year falling on ice or snow, I'm being really careful this year. And so I hadn't gone outside for a while. We've been having lots of storms, and I think I had my slippers on still, which is really stupid. And so I was going to just do it. We have a storm door, and I was just doing a video of my husband opening up the storm door and seeing like the snow outside or the ice outside. And our last storm, he accidentally, one of the doors in the garage, the door that you open, had gotten blown open and some snow got inside, and he thought that would be a neat video to see the snow inside the garage. So he said, come here, take a video of this. Or no, he didn't say, he said, come here, come to the garage. I didn't know he wanted me to take a video. So I put my phone down just to be safe and made my way. We had grass, so I was just walking on the grass, but then it's pavement right in front of the garage door. And I went there, and then he's like, take a video of this. And I'm like, I didn't bring my camera. It's back at the house. And he says, oh, okay, well, yeah. So we're going to, cold. It's really cold. So I'm standing on cement ice, and I want to step over to the grassy area. And so I put my hand in the door frame to just get a grip to step onto the grass. And I had it in the door frame. He's on the door handle, so I'm in the actual frame where the hinges are, and he's not where the handle is, and he goes to close the door, which he closes very tight because of it blowing open, and it's snug, and you have to close it, pull it really hard. So that's what happened. I told him open the door. Went inside. He is very good in the case of an emergency. I don't know what it is with him. He'd be a great paramedic or whatever. I got faint. I sat down, just sort of held on to my fingers. There wasn't any pain. There was no pain. I was probably in shock. And he bandaged me up. This happened on 9 o'clock on Sunday, and the roof was still on the road, so there was nothing we could do anyways. There was no paramedics on the island. I just kind of, he took care of me, like we got me past the fainty moments. The fingers started throbbing a bit, but they weren't bad. He had them all wrapped up really well. And eventually at noon, or I think 11:30, the roof got removed. And so we caught, I think, the 1 o'clock ferry off the island. We left here, we have to leave the house at 12:30 to catch the ferry in time. So we are, due to doctor shortages, the closest hospital was closed. It was closed for the weekend. So we had to go about a 2-hour drive to the nearest hospital. And we get there. And I ended up sitting, I think, an hour or 2 hours in the waiting room. And then it took the doctor in the ER. Turned out, I thought my fingers were severed. They weren't. They were cut. And the nails were dislodged. So that's what I saw that made me think that my fingers were severed, but they're fine. So I got all my nerves, no tendon damage, no nerve damage. They're just bad cuts, and the nails will be lost on all 3 fingers. So I can work. I can use my fingers. I can bend them. I can't right now because of the tape, but I can actually bend them and touch my. So I got stitches. I got some dissolvable stitches, which are still there and they look ugly. And I got some the other stitches that had to be removed, which got removed a week after. And so I ended up getting, I think, 7 stitches in each finger. In these 2 fingers and these 2 fingers. And this one just had a steri strip. And so it was a good thing I went to the doctor. I got a tetanus shot. So that made me feel good because I hadn't had tetanus shot in a long time. And being on tetanus is really important. And all in all, pain has been minimal. It feels weird. Not having one fingernail got lost right away. Feels weird. Looking forward to fingernails growing back. I did some research, takes 6 months. So I think my fingers, the ones with stitches, are really ugly right now, extremely ugly. So for vanity and for just being kind to other people, when I'm in public, they're going to be wrapped like this. So I'm going to be going to my stitching retreat with wrapped fingers, I believe. Right now, they don't seem to, they're all healed-ish. Like I said, they kind of still look really ugly, and I expect that they're going to still look ugly for at least a month. Well, maybe they'll look fine by the end of March. Who knows? Maybe I'll switch to Band-Aids eventually. Right now this feels comfortable, and I think it gives me a lot of security. So I do take off the bandages and wash them, and when I do dishes, yes, I'm still doing dishes. Actually, the warm water feels really good. I wear the bandages for a while, and then they get itchy just because I think, I described it to my husband. It's like when you wear socks and you get that imprint and you get kind of itchy because the skin's all pressed down. That's what happens with the bandages. So every once in a while, I just got to take it off and let the skin expand again. This is the non-cut area, just the other stuff, and kind of just relax and then when I feel that it's kind of bothersome, because they do feel better wrapped up. They actually feel more secure. I'm much more able to use my hands with them wrapped up. But I was really happy that I was actually able to stitch. I got a lot of progress done. And I'm just finding a way. You can find a way. So I'm fine. I'm fine. That's the bottom line. I'm fine. So this is long, and yeah, I might not include the unboxing at the end. I'll have to put a knot somewhere, or maybe I'll add it in. No one's going to watch it, but anyways, I'll put it there just in case. I'm going to go now because this is much too long. This is longer than I expected, but I'm fine. I'm stitching. I'm Mrs. Stitches, literally, which I hate that phrase, literally, but I really am Mrs. Stitches. Didn't mean for that to be the way to be, but it is. And plans coming up. Do my Hawk Run Hollow this month. Birthday start for husband on Saturday. Julie's birthday twisted band sampler stitch along. Gonna do a little bit of a marathon that. Keep on with my over COVID. And what else? Oh, do my paint with stitches sal. Get that done. And finish up my stitching from my stash. And yeah, that's it. So I seem to drag out goodbye. So I'm gonna just say keep on stitching on and take care, everybody. Be safe.